Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hello, Fearless Freedom family. I am coming to you from a hotel room in the middle of a small town where I am currently doing a locum tenens assignment. You are probably wondering, what in the world is locum tenens? Well, the word locum tenens basically means place filler. So my job is to go to a site where it is needed, my services are needed, and I'll go there and I'll work and I will get to know the people there. I'll get to take care of patients there. And as a result, I get paid to do that. And oftentimes it requires some travel. And this particular situation, I am in a hotel room in a small town, and you may hear some background noise, which is the hotel is right next to a major thoroughfare, so there may be some, whizzing by of cars that you might hear. So that's why that is. But I am super excited because this is the final episode for the year 2019, and there is just so much to talk about, so much to share with you. And I am just super excited about the fact that you have hung with me for this entire year, that we have grown together, we have shone together, and we have just exploded in our greatness together. And most importantly, we have identified fears, we have faced them boldly, and if we are still in the process of facing them, then we are embracing failing forward, and we are embracing the growth that comes with facing our fears and doing so that we can become victorious. So that is the whole point of this podcast. That is the whole point of individuals coming on the show and sharing, being vulnerable, sharing their fears, sharing how they have gone about facing them, and providing you with some amazing pearls so that you can do the same. So I have done several shows in the past of kind of talking about the dissection of fear and where it comes from, how we can do some practical things in which to face our basic fears every single day by doing something scary, talking about how we can have a plan, an action plan after we have recognized what our fears are, and then identify the items that are holding us back, putting those items aside, stepping around them, stepping over them, however we need to, in order to make sure that we emerge victoriously. So I am just so grateful for an entire year where you have listened to the show. You may have listened to it in block, multiple episodes at once, and binge listen because you discovered it later in the year. You may have listened to one episode at a time, kind of spanned over a long period. You may have just been listening to this show for the very first time, and this is your first episode. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for stopping by. And I really appreciate you. I appreciate all that you are. I appreciate every single moment that you're working on becoming better. I appreciate the amazing you that you're going to be in 2020. And I also appreciate the fact that you indulge me as I talk about how I am facing my fear, which is the fear of public speaking, and how using this media has been instrumental in helping that fear to be overcome. And that has been such a tremendous experience. So we had a progress report back in the fall, in November, and I talked a lot at that time about all the things that had happened all the milestones that we had reached up until then, and the exciting development of being able to speak on a speaker panel at She Podcast Live in Atlanta and getting to meet some amazing women who are also doing some incredible things in the space of podcast media and upliftment of women. And it was just a phenomenal experience. And I'm looking forward to 2020 because there are so many other phenomenal experiences that are going to be had. And all because of one decision, which was to start facing my fear of public speaking. So super excited about that. So that was a major milestone. Super excited about that milestone and the connections that were made through that modality, that experience, and looking forward to next year's conference, which I believe is going to be around the same time in the fall. So I am definitely looking forward to that. Waiting to hear from Elsie and to see where they're going to have the conference next year. So looking forward to that. Keeping my ear on the ground about that. All right. And so the other milestone that has really been so encouraging is that the podcast has, in its short period of time, which is essentially 1 year and 50 plus episodes, we have gotten to over 66,000, not 60. I wish it was 60. It will be 60, but right now it is over 6,000 unique downloads. And that is without this podcast being on the top 10 list, or whatever the listing and the boosters are for podcasting. That is without that. That is purely grassroots, purely sharing, you listening, you sharing. It is purely just organic, and I am so proud of that. I feel like the tribe that listens to this show is my people, or are my people, I should say. I should use better grammar. You guys are my people, and you identify with the struggle. You identify with my struggle, I identify with your struggle, and we're in this together, and it shows. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking a moment to listen, for subscribing, for sharing, for downloading, for all the things, because without you, the show would not be successful. So we're working on hitting the next milestone, which is 7,000. We are halfway there. So hopefully we will hit that before January is up, and we can celebrate when that happens as well. So the other thing that occurred over the course of this year is that I wanted to do some things to kind of level up my public speaking and to figure out how to continue to face the fear. And one of those things was actually taking a mastermind course, a Master Your Speaking course, to be exact. And it was a course that was put on by Carol Cox and Diane Diaz from Speaking Your Brand. And I took that course, and it was phenomenal and learned so much. Basically, I left the course with a lot of confidence in being able to get in front of people and speak and be able to deliver amazing content, to be able to present it in such a way that it was engaging, or that it is engaging, and really touching the hearts and minds of those in the audience. And so I am very grateful to have been a part of that mastermind, to have met the amazing women in the mastermind, because they have been so instrumental in really helping to shape my growth this year when it comes to public speaking. And I'm not going to name everybody's name because there are just so many amazing women in the group. And I just want to give you guys a shout out. So a big shout out to the amazing women of the Master Your Speaking course, and a major shout out to coaches Diane and Carol Cox. So I graduated from that program, and I'm officially a speaker, a master speaker for Speaking Your Brand. So yay, that is huge. We really are super excited about that. So there you have it. So we have that. We have the downloads. You guys have been kicking butt, listening and participating and sharing. So I really appreciate that. And then we have the completion of the Master Your Speaking course and leveling up speaking so that can deliver a better product coming up in 2020. And then the next thing I am kind of nervous about, but also very excited at the same time. So, you know how that is where you get that feeling like you're about to do something big and you kind of hesitate because then you feel like maybe I shouldn't do this thing because it's just way bigger than I think I can accomplish. But then you say, wait, that is my litmus test. That tells me when you get that pit in your stomach, that is fear. That's basically fear saying, are you sure you're really good enough to do this? Are you sure that you have the chops to make this happen? And that is when, as long as it's not dangerous to you, as long as there's no physical danger, that is when you should say yes to the thing. So the thing that I am alluding to is I'm actually working on the finishing touches of a course that I am planning to launch in mid-January, and it is a podcasting 101 course for professional women, and it is going to be a modality through which, if you've ever wanted to get your voice heard, if you've ever wanted to communicate to your tribe through podcasting, for example, if you have clientele that you'd like to reach through podcasting, if you have patients that you're trying to reach through podcasting, if you have a product or an idea or basically a concept or a cause that you'd like to amplify through podcasting, then this is the course for you. If you're super busy and you have no idea where to start, this is the course for you, because what I'm planning on doing is I am planning on getting you started and getting you in a position where you're going to win. And you're going to be able to avoid the pitfalls that basically affects most of us as we start our podcasting life, I guess. And one of those things is that we may not necessarily have what we believe to be enough content. And so we get fired up at first and we put out like 1 or 2 episodes, and then we do something called pod fading, which means that we just completely fall off the scene and don't continue. So I don't want that for you. What I want for you is I want for you to have a successful show. I want for you to touch the hearts and minds of those that are in your tribe, those that are waiting for your voice to be heard. And at the end of the course, basically what will happen is you will have 5 episodes ready to go, and you'll have a plan for the next 5. So you'll be up, running for distribution, for production, everything at the end of the course, and you will be set up to win, and you will have an amazing 2020. If podcasting is something that you're looking to do, you've always kind of said, I don't know if I can do it, or you've had some hesitation because you didn't know where to start, didn't understand, or didn't know what kind of tech you needed, and you thought it was too complicated, whatever it is, whatever that thing is, totally, let's not make that be the item that holds you back in 2020, because I'm running the beta course. It's going to be a beta course because obviously it's going to be the first one. And if you are brave enough, if you are willing to be a part of the beta course, then that's going to be awesome, because we're going to learn together, we're going to grow together, and we're going to crush some fears and punch some fears in the face as we get your podcasting media up and running and ready to thrive. And so I will have more details on that as we get closer, but I kind of want to put it out there because I feel like that's going to be something that we're going to be doing in January, and I'm super excited about it. So working on the finishing touches, and I will provide more details as far as the actual start date and pricing and all that good stuff as we go along. All right, so those were the milestones I wanted to share. I am still working on a couple more speaking engagements for 2020. I have a couple booked. I'm looking to book a few more. I do have my stretch goal, which is to have at least one engagement that pays 5 figures. So that is my stretch goal. I'm trying to dream big and go for it, because I feel like when we do that, we tend to aim for the sky or aim for the stratosphere, and then we fall amongst the trees and we still end up in a really awesome place. So I encourage you to do the same. So milestones, check. I told you guys about the podcast course coming up, check. Awesome. All right, so I wanted to just share a little bit more of encouragement because I am so encouraged by this. I literally went through some of the comments that you all have left on the podcast, and I just wanted to share a few with you guys. So I have a comment here that says, and it's entitled Inspiring. And it says, Dr. G's podcast is so inspirational. Love her guests, her honesty, and vulnerability on the show. I feel encouraged and inspired every time I listen to her. Keep it coming, Dr. G. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that because that is encouraging to me because it helps me to know that you all are definitely being inspired by the show. You're getting something out of it. And so it really drives me to continue doing it week after week. All right, another comment. This is from Dr. Mack, and she's talking about overcoming fear with Dr. Charmaine. All right, Dr. G. Fear stops so many of us from doing great things. Dr. Gregory takes fear head on. Her information helps inspire others to overcome their fears. So thanks a lot, Dr. Mack, for sharing that comment. Again, super excited about that. And I thank you for all that you do because you do some amazing things to help female physician entrepreneurs thrive. And also, you do amazing things to help female entrepreneurs in general thrive. So thank you for all your great work. Another comment is entitled, I love this podcast, exclamation point. Oh my goodness, thank you guys. And the comment reads, you can't level up in your life without facing fear. Oh my goodness, that is so true. What I love is the weekly inspiration that empowers us to take on what scares us so we can expand and grow ourselves in all areas. Dr. G is an amazing example of walking the walk. Thank you so much, Mommy Toddler. I appreciate that because you know what? My honest opinion is that we're all human, and a lot of times we tend not to share our weaknesses. We tend not to share what we are dealing with, what we're struggling with, and it just gives us a facade that people are the pillars of perfection that are depicted on social media, and that's just so not the case. And so, I appreciate when someone's real, and I try my best to be real because I feel like that's what we need to be in order to see the most change and to be our great selves, and to be our greatest selves. So thanks again for that comment. All right, so last but not least, this one is from Mudfoot35, and it's entitled Leaving No Excuses. And it reads, I can already see the progression with each episode. I love transparency and the spirit onto which the podcast is done. Your podcast is moving forward into action. Awesome. Thank you so much. You know what? It is definitely a work in progress because guess what? I'm a work in progress. You're a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. And as long as we're moving forward, we are accomplishing great things because the more that we introspect and we think about the things that we need to work on, we improve on those things, the more of a amazing person we become. And so, yeah, why not spread positive vibes? I feel like, and I say this all the time, I believe very strongly in karma, and I really believe that if you put out positive energy, you will get back intense amounts of positive energy and your life will be blessed. And since that's my belief, I do my very best to put forward positive energy. And I try my very best to surround myself with positive energy. So even if I have a bad day and I am thinking, oh my goodness, and I start to become ungrateful for the blessings that are in my life, I start to think about how there are situations and there are people who have so much less than I do. And even if, I were to compare myself to the person that has the least that I know that there is a blessing in every single situation. And so there's no point really in being down and complaining and not appreciating the gift that we have, which is the gift of life, right? We have the ability to exist on this planet, enjoy all the beauty that she has to provide for us. And we also have the beautiful experience of interacting with other humans. And, we're not guaranteed every single day that we wake up. And in my profession, that is very clear. There are many days when I have to look a loved one in their eyes, hold their hand, and let them know that the person that they loved is no longer living. And that's hard for me. That's hard for someone who has never met this family member to tell them that kind of news, because there's no relationship. We have no relationship, we have no rapport, but we have that common experience of feeling the pain of loss. And so, it just makes me realize our mortality, and it makes me realize that we are not guaranteed any single day that we live. And so every day that we're blessed with, we have to live it to the fullest, and we have to be grateful for it, because it is another invitation to experience the world around us. It is another invitation to be kind and to be interacting in a positive manner with the humans around us. It is also another invitation to work on ourselves and work on being better than we were yesterday. So those are the things that keep me going, and just really appreciating the fact that not only when you wake up you have breath, but many of us, if not all of us, have at least one person that loves us, have at least one person that we love. It may not be a person, it may be that you have a pet or you have a friend, I don't know. So but you have things that engage you with life, and you have relationships, and all of these things are paramount, and all of these things are precious and priceless. And I'm sorry I'm getting so philosophical, but I just it just really gets me fired up, because I just honestly feel that we have every time we catch breath, every time we have an ability to interface with other humans, we have an opportunity for greatness, and that greatness is showing positivity, spreading love, and definitely looking to make that a part of our daily lives. So we can edify those around us, and we can essentially edify ourselves, and just really help our experience on this planet to be even better. So, with that, I'm going to stop talking about philosophy. And I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a preview for what's coming up in January. So, in January, what I'm going to do is kind of put a little bit of a question out on social media asking what I should do to round out the year. And the decision was to kind of give a progress report, which is what this is. But there was also some popular request for going over or doing like a best of 2019 kind of scenario of all the episodes. And so I went through and looked at all the episodes that had the most downloads, and there were a lot of episodes that had quite a lot of downloads. But you all in the tribe seem to like a few of our guests, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have like a series. So each week in January, what we'll do is we'll have a series where we have excerpts of snippets from popular episodes. So you'll hear snippets from some of the solo episodes where I talk about like tips on how to punch fear in the face. I also talk about doing something scary every day. So, and what does fear mean exactly? So we'll have some excerpts from that, and I'll kind of give a little bit of a commentary around that. And then we'll have highlights from several other episodes. Episode 14, which had Dr. Dawn Baker, who talks about her unique experience coming to a completely different country for medical school from her home country and in Kenya, and then going from Germany to the United States, and all of the wonderful things that happened there, and how she faced fear in some incredible ways. We will hear from Dr. Lulu, who has a penchant for talking about and advocating for childhood suicide and childhood depression. We'll also hear from Dr. Alexis McRae, who was in episode 21, talking about her experience with burnout in emergency medicine and how she transmogrified her career, her life, etc., and is now giving back and paying it forward through a wellness clinic and a med spa that she runs. And we'll hear from Dr. Maisha Claiborne, who actually was on our show twice, once live at Thrive 2G conference earlier in the fall, and once as a one-on-one interview earlier on in episode 22. So we'll have a couple of opportunities to hear from her again. Let's see, we have episode 32, Leah Steele, all the way from across the pond. And she talks a lot about resilience and burnout and her perspective as a lawyer. We'll also have episodes 43, Dr. Naneka Echuku, who talks a lot about what is it like to balance having 5 children and an amazing career. And let's see, there's so many, you guys. I'm so excited about this. So episode 44, we have Tiffany Turner. She and I worked together in the emergency department. She was doing a lot of work, very important work with our mental health patients. And she has branched out on her own. She and another counselor have gotten together, and they've opened up a counseling and coaching for mental illness shop here in Ann Arbor. And so she talks about that. Super excited about that and her progress. And then we have Denicia Hilton, who talks a lot about, she was episode 35, and she talks a lot about how menstrual flows and menstruation affects us in our daily lives, and how that ties into our wellness, how it ties into our fear, our attitudes, everything. And so that was a very interesting episode. I learned a lot from that one. So it'd be great to kind of revisit that one as well. And then last but not least, episode 31 with Bethany Brahman, who is an RN and is kind of twinning with me a little bit, because she also has children that she homeschools, and she is doing some amazing things as a mom, as a nurse, as an amazing human being. So we have a lot coming up, guys, and I'm super excited about that. And so I am going to I'm basically going to sign off now, but I just wanted to kind of get on and before the year is up, and share this with you, share the update, share the encouragement that comes through the comments. And also, there was one more thing that I did want to share. And so I was kind of looking through the comments on the blog. So if you all may or may not know, I will post the episodes on the blog. So the blog, it lives on either my website, which is Fervently Fit with the website is Fervently Fit. I can't even remember my website now. This is what happens when you have post-night shift brain, because you totally don't have complete clarity sometimes. But I have a site through Libsyn, which is where the show notes / blog lives, but it also lives on my website, which is ferventlyfitwithcharmaine.com. But on the Libsyn, or the podcast blog, which is ferventlyfit.libsyn.com, there was an episode that I did a little bit ago, which was a fall progress report. And in that episode, I talked about, my fear of public speaking. I also talked about some of the things, the updates, and the production that we had so far this year. And I had a very awesome comment from Dr. Anita Pasge, and she asked, she basically said, hey, Dr. G, I am Dr. P. I, too, have a fear of public speaking and am not tech savvy. So I spend a lot of time fine-tuning my slides and not working on the delivery. However, when it comes to the day of presentation, I have a difficult time suppressing my physical stress. Do you have any resources or presentations on public speaking? And I can totally identify with you, Dr. P, because I have a very visceral response before I get on stage and I give a talk. But what has happened is I have utilized, and so my response to Dr. P is basically that I read this really great book, and it's called Talk Like a TED, and it's by Carmine Gallo. And this book is really phenomenal, and it's a great guide because it provides you with tools that you can implement for success on the stage. And basically, what he does is he goes around, he talks to all of these successful TED speakers, and he kind of gets from them like what are the things that they have in common? What are the ways in which they prepare for their talks? And how do they prepare to provide an excellent delivery? And, he talks a lot about how you incorporate stories, how you can identify with your audience, how you can engage them on an emotional level, on an intellectual level, on a spiritual level sometimes. And so for me, some of the things that I got from that is I will do a lot of visualization techniques. And so what does that mean? It is very similar to what athletes do. So if you talk to any top athlete, they will always tell you that they do visualization because they can close their eyes and they can envision themselves doing whatever the sport is. They can envision themselves hitting the free throws. They can envision themselves hitting a hole in one. They vision themselves doing that thing enough times that it actually becomes a part of their psyche. And then when they go on the stage or they go on the field, they perform at the level that they visualize. So they visualize themselves at a higher level. They visualize themselves doing excellent work. And so when they are in the space where they have to deliver, it happens because it is something that has not been internalized, and it allows for them to have peak performance. And so, I do the visualization techniques. So if I'm giving a talk, I will always make sure that I have the talk ready well in advance so I can look at my slides, look at my content, and have the content be internalized. So it's actually almost second nature to deliver the content. So the first step is internalizing the content. So once that content is internalized, then I can deliver that content in a dynamic way because I have that content inside my mind and it's a natural way. It's almost like talking to a friend. When you're talking to a friend, you don't stop and look at a slide or you don't stop and look at notes. You're just talking to your friend. So if you get your comfort level to that point, it helps with delivery and it helps to make the audience feel comfortable, make the audience feel engaged, make the audience feel like each and every one of them is the most important person in the room, which is what you want. That's how you become an amazing speaker, like Brene Brown or any of the greats that are on the stage right now. So that's my response. The other thing that I said was, and I told you guys about this too. I did have speaking coaches this year, and I did do that mastermind, and I felt like that really helped me because it was an opportunity to be surrounded by other people who are trying to level up their speaking as well. And I believe that that is huge. So one way that you can do this locally is most places have a Toastmasters group. Toastmasters International is an amazing organization where you literally can go and be around other people who are trying to level up their speaking as well. And so you can practice things like extemporaneous speeches. You can do, focus speeches. You can really work on your skill and perfecting the art of public speaking. And so that would be my suggestion. Those are the things that I have. I'm sure there's tons of other things out there, and I can definitely think of some other things, but, in the interest of time, I just wanted to share that. And so I hope that you guys all had an amazing holiday, and I look forward to all the great things that 2020 is going to bring. And I also look forward to hearing from you because, I love to hear what your fears are, how you're facing them, what you're up to, all that good stuff, because I want to be able to support you because I appreciate every single moment of time that you dedicate to listening to this show and the support that you provided because it is truly, truly, truly appreciated. All right. So have an amazing end of year and an amazing New Year's Eve. And I know you're going to crush it for 2020. Thank you for joining us today on this journey. Fear is all around us. It strives to stop us from achieving our greatness. We have the tools to be overcomers. By sharing our stories, supporting each other, and doing self-reflection, we can do this. If you found value in this conversation today, please be sure to subscribe to and share this podcast with your friends. By going to your favorite podcast platform, leaving a review and a 5-star rating, you will help to get the word out about it. And that is much appreciated. Thanks again for spending time with us. I appreciate your time and your attention. It is my hope that you will punch fear in the face today and that you will be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.